Yeah, if you want to call 3 games a win streak,
That I mean,
that is technically a streak. Yeah,
I mean that's what we get excited about lately.
yeah, 3 games. I mean,
Yeah.
did they win 3 games in a row at any point last year?
I couldn't tell you, but I don't remember. That's what's bad.
Well, I'll look it up. I will dive into the data and find out for myself. I'm gonna put 0.003 crypto coin, Bitcoin on that. They did not.
It's a lot of money.
I know. I'm crazy. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Episode 14, Fish and Toast. We're doing nothing but NFL here since we did all college football last night. And because of episode 13, part 2, or episode 14, however you want to phrase it. I'm calling it episode 14 because it will show up as a completely other episode, but feel free to call it whatever you want.
Fair.
But yeah, we went, had a little less time yesterday because of the cyclone bomb, or the bomb cyclone, whatever you want to call it. That was causing a monsoon last night.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Nothing happened.
Yeah, apparently someone died up in Seattle.
Oh, God.
Got crushed by a tree.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those.
I know my sister lives up there, and her fence came down.
Was it her?
No, it was not her. But her fence did blow over. Like, it's crazy.
Gotta watch out for those fences too.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just pulling up my little noteses here because there was a couple things I wanted to get to. First and foremost, I have a formal apology that I need to make because was it on Sunday and throughout the week leading up to week 11, there was a certain betting line that was enticing me, a little something that was intriguing to me, and it was the Falcons as dogs on the road against the Broncos. And I was like, all right, well, this Broncos thing, it's got to regress at some point, right? It's got to come back to regress to the means. There's no way Bo Nix and Sean Payton and them got this figured out. So I'm right. I was like,
right now,
Falcons, they got to start to separate themselves in the NFC South. I was like, we got to roll with the Falcons here. I know it's in Denver. I know it's that thin air up at Mile High, but we're rolling with the Falcons. And oh my God, that is probably the worst. I would probably say the worst bet I've laid in a few weeks now, possibly of the season. Like for it to be that wrong.
But yeah, I was on the opposite side of you that day.
Yeah, I will say I owe an apology to the Denver Broncos because they did not only just beat the Falcons, they did not only just cover against the Falcons. They whooped that ass. They
took them to the woodshed.
They looked so good. That was easily Bo Nix's best game as a pro. 100%. That offense, just the play calling, the movement, the getting not just movement of like the receivers, but moving the line and blockers around on plays, whether it's like little screen passes or, I mean, it was a masterclass by Sean Payton on Sunday.
Yeah, it reminded me of Bo Nix in the Oregon offense, just comfortable making the easy play, and then when the right play was open, making sure it counted. And it was just cool to see he was in a rhythm. Obviously, you could tell by his stat line, he had a massive day. So he was spreading the ball around, which was cool to see. And that's what he did in Oregon as well. Yeah,
I felt kind of bad afterwards. I felt bad for myself for losing money. I felt bad. I felt bad for betting against Bo Nix. I mean, that's our boy, obviously. And I I felt bad for the Falcons. I'm like, oh my God, just make it stop already.
Yeah,
Like,
please.
this is just not good. But I mean, I haven't looked at what the rest of the season schedule wise looks like for the Broncos, who they got left. But at this point, I mean, they've got to be a real threat to seal up one of those wild card spots. Because also looking at the standings, the playoff picture in the AFC, it's like outside of the Broncos, the 3 teams that have less wins than them that are like still somewhat in the playoff picture are the Colts, who I still don't know how they're still around, the Dolphins, and the Bengals.
They're scrappy.
The Colts?
Yeah.
They
Doesn't
are
matter
scrappy.
what quarterback they're using right now. It's just all of a sudden they show up.
See, and that was one game also where like the Colts were, I think they were 4.5-point dogs or something like that. And my producer on my Sunday show on The Fan, he was like, I don't know about that. I think the Jets are going to win that. I'm like, what have you seen from the Jets that makes you comfortable that they are able to actually go out and do that?
Yeah, not much.
But the Colts have a good defense. I'll give them that. They're full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah, they show up week to week. It's really like matchup dependent. And when they go against like quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers,
Josh Allen.
Yeah. I mean,
well, I guess complete opposite of Aaron Rodgers right now at this point.
I was going to say Josh Allen is a fucking nightmare. But
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is week to week.
But
that guy.
But yeah, I mean, like, because the Colts, and granted, I don't know if it's, now that Anthony Richardson is back in the starter spot, but what was the game that he had to sub himself out of? Was it the Texans game? Was it the Vikings game? I think it was the Texans, right?
Yeah, I think it was the Texans.
Yeah. So then they go and lose to the Vikings. That was, was that a Thursday night game?
I don't think so. Did they play? Have the Colts played on a Thursday?
No, I think it was a Sunday night game, actually. I was going to say it was a weird primetime slot or something like that. But yeah, it was a Sunday night game against the Vikings.
That makes sense.
Because Flacco and Darnold, neither of them wanted to win that. They were just kind of going back and forth. Like, no, you guys can win. No, really, you go ahead.
So sloppy.
But yeah, I mean, the Colts are a weird team, and they had to go back to Anthony Richardson because Joe Flacco is not the Joe Flacco of the Browns. But again, looking at the standings, I mean, the Broncos, and then behind them are the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Bengals. And the Bengals look like they're about to just, they're not out of it. I mean, they are literally 2 games behind the Broncos, so there's still plenty of season left, but man, they look like they're about to just give up and call it a year.
Right. Yeah. It is brutal. And I don't know if you saw my name on my thing or my header down there tonight, but
Mac Jones?
No, fucking McPherson, who missed 2 field goals and was the reason that
I thought Jamar Chase was going to go and choke him, or the long snapper.
They should have beat us. I'm a Chargers fan, and like we blew a huge lead. Honestly, it shouldn't have been in that position, but
almost chargered it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that might be the difference this year as past years. Usually we blow that game, and very well could have if he would have hit a couple field goals. So,
I mean, that's the story of the fucking Bengals season, though, man.
Yeah,
not just McPherson missing field goals that he should make to help win the game or take the lead or whatever, but just late game meltdowns. I mean, looking at them, their game against you guys, both of the Ravens games, the game against the Chiefs, I feel like we've talked about this too. Like, the Commanders game, that was kind of, end of the game, trying to make up some points and make it closer than it was. And then they got worked by the Eagles at home. But then losing to the Patriots earlier in the year, like that's 1-2. And we know this in the NFL, 1 possession games. Like it seems like every week, 90% of the games are 1 possession games.
It's so close every week, even though you don't think it will be.
But literally every single one of their losses outside of the Eagles' loss is a one-possession game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's going to be one of those, when we get to the end of the season, or even at this point, we start looking at teams. It's like, what's your record in one-possession games? And I would imagine that the Bengals, if you look at their wins, they have one win that is a one-possession game, and that was against the Browns. Other than that, 10 points versus the Panthers, 10 points versus the Giants, 17 against the Raiders. That's going to be, if they miss out on the playoffs, that's what they're going to be looking at. We could have been, our record could have been 7-4 if we finished some of these games.
I think this team is one game away from honestly just quitting.
Well, and they got the Steelers next week.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they play some divisional games here, I think.
Well, they got it looks like they're heading into the bye week, actually. Yeah, they're heading to the bye week, and then they'll get the Steelers. So
they have 2 games against the Steelers left on their schedule.
Yeah.
So.
But then they got a nice a little run of winnable games. They got Cowboys. That's a dub. Titans. That's a dub. But maybe not. Maybe the Titans give them fits.
The Titans are scrappy, and the way the Bengals are playing this year, nothing's for certain.
Yeah. So so that's the Bengals, and then the Dolphins, who looked pretty good against the Raiders. They're at 4-6.
Okay, so they're also the Raiders. That's another team
that is true.
In an interesting position. Not very good.
That's true. But the Dolphins, they get the Patriots this week. Then they got to go to Green Bay, which that will probably be a loss, because I think the stat is that Tua is 0-6 in games where it's 48 degrees or lower, which makes sense.
Hawaii boy.
Yeah, but they'll have the Patriots, they'll have the Jets, they'll have the 49ers late in the season, the Browns and the Jets. So there's some winnable games for the Dolphins right now. But to get back to the main point, man, the Broncos, they are rolling.
And just when you think that they're going to be rolling, they might not be,
and lose to the Raiders this weekend.
Yeah, watch out. What was that line? Was it 5.5?
The Raiders Broncos.
Yeah,
I have not peeped it yet. That sounds about right, though. I've kind of been looking a little bit far this week, but
that's a little bit ridiculous.
It's up to 6 now.
Okay, well, still, it's like one of the most bet games already. I've already seen like a few different places bet MGM, like DraftKings, and everyone. Yeah, they're all over Denver right now. Yeah,
I love it.
But who wants to bet on Vegas?
Yeah, I don't blame them. And this goes against the Fisher algorithm. Is natural instinct seeing that line? I'm like, yeah, Broncos are covering, and then if all the money,
a touchdown, like, what, a touchdown? That should be easy.
Yeah, and then all the money is going on the Broncos to cover. So therefore, do not bet on that, Joe. Do not lose your money on that.
Fisher, do not put yourself in that position.
But I don't know. They are holding on to that 7th wild card spot, and every team that is out of it, there's no team with 3 wins or 2 wins that are climbing their way back into it. It's literally down to the Colts, Dolphins, or Bengals. One of those 3 teams that is maybe able to make a comeback. I don't think it's going to be the Colts. I think Anthony Richardson's going to fuck them over at some point and do some stupid shit down to the rest of the season. The Dolphins, I could see doing it, but they got to win some games here soon. Granted, they do get the Jets twice, so that's going to help. As I mentioned, they'll get the Patriots, they'll get the Browns, they'll get the 49ers before Christmas, which that was something I wanted to get into at some point here is the 49ers, but there's winnable games for the Dolphins. So Broncos control their own destiny, as they say, but they got the Dolphins nipping at their heels, or whatever Dolphins do. I don't know. They have teeth, so I guess they can nip you.
What is it? We only have 6 more weeks left.
Yeah, it's week 12. So 12, 13, 14, 15,
yeah.
16, 17, 18, 7 weeks.
7 weeks. Okay.
It's crunch time, baby.
This is the witching hour of the
NFL regular season. Yeah.
Exactly.
Where playoff teams become eliminated and eliminated teams become playoff teams.
Where people figure out what kind of run they want to make right now and how healthy teams are.
Yeah. What I did want to bring up to you, though, and I had a list. Let me get it pulled up here because, I mean, there are some teams that are in some bad spots right now. Some franchises, I should say. And
are you talking about the Giants?
Oh, I'm talking about the Giants. I'm talking about a few teams. Let me get this pulled up. I think I had a list of 4 because there's a lot of different ways I could go with this, but I just kept it to 4. So, of these franchises, I want you to tell me which one is in the worst spot out of these 4. And then if you were a billionaire, if you were just flush with cash, which team would you want to buy? And in a sense, what has the brightest future ahead?
Okay.
Let's say one of the owners dies or something like that, or they get caught saying something racist on tape, like Donald Sterling or something like that. And it's like, oh, you got to sell the team. Sorry.
All right. Someone else has a bunch of money to buy it.
What NFL franchise to you is in the worst spot? Is it the Jets? Ownership, no direction, firing their coach, firing their GM that actually did a pretty decent job, I thought. And then the whole Aaron Rodgers mess. The New York Giants with a shitty GM in place and have to now restart the clock at quarterback because that Daniel Jones pick turned out to be exactly what everybody thought it was going to be. Not good. Dallas Cowboys, which is self-explanatory, one of the worst owner in all sports. Or the Cleveland Browns, which is one of the worst owner in sports as well, and one of the worst contracts in sports history with Deshaun Watson. So Jets, Giants, Cowboys, Browns, which franchise is in the worst spot right now and going forward?
Oh, that is tough.
Or E, all of the above.
I'm going to eliminate Dallas. I'm going to eliminate...
Well, thank you for your sympathy. I appreciate it.
Well, I mean, I think that's going to be an easier turnaround than some of these other places. I mean, until I've seen it.
But even the Jerry Jones factor, that's the thing. Like the Jerry Jones factor right now, I want to say is probably at its worst. It has never been this bad with Jerry and his I don't know if senality is a word, but I'm making it a word. Him being delusional and that trickling down to the teammate or the team itself and the players. So even with that factor, you're like, that's still a team I would move forward with out of these 4 at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's a team that's made the playoffs more than a lot of these other teams. I guess the Giants have won one more recently. But I mean, the Jets are, I feel like, snake bitten, but Cleveland is just a team that does not win.
There's part of me that it's
how many quarterbacks have they been through? It's like, it's unbelievable, that team. And I would not want to be like an upcoming coach and then all of a sudden thrown in that situation. And then for an organization that hasn't proven to win year after year, even if it's just like, oh, we fuck around and miss the playoffs, or we make it to the playoffs, lose right away, they just have not been good consistently. So I'm going to go with Cleveland. And it's just like it's not sexy. Like,
well, the river's on fire.
Like, would you rather be in Dallas, Texas, like one of the homes of like football, or would you want to be in New York, like a big market, and be able to like market yourself? And it'd probably be under a lot more scrutiny than Cleveland, but at the same time,
Cleveland does have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah. That'd be fun. It'd be cool to check that out. Yeah, and their river's on fire.
They have Canton, Ohio, which also Hall of Fame.
Very, very true. Very true.
So,
yeah, I feel like Cleveland almost does it to themselves, where, like you said, like the Jets are just like snake bitten. Like even when they put together a good team, that like just somehow
something goes wrong.
Yeah, it gets fucked up. Like, hey, we got Aaron Rodgers. Like, oh, let's have him tear his Achilles and miss the whole season.
First drive. Like, it's unbelievable. And they're supposed to put together these good rosters, these good defenses, and then either injuries or something doesn't plan out like it's supposed to, and then it becomes a coach's fault, and it's a never-ending like laundry list of coaches and players that go through there.
Well, let me pull this up for you because I saw this tweet the other day. It was from Sam Block on Twitter, the Block Spot. Apparently he's on ESPN. I've never heard of him, but Joe Douglas, the GM of former GM of the Jets, Joe Douglas drafted Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, Will McDonald, Braylon Allen, Jermaine Johnson, Michael Carter II, and the Jets just fired him. Like, that's a pretty damn good draft record.
Not bad at all. It's like, how are we not getting these pieces to work?
Yeah. So that's where it's like, Woody Johnson is an animal. Like, that dude just firing Salah and it literally making no difference.
Yeah.
And now he's firing Joe Douglas, who does a pretty good job of drafting and also convincing Aaron Rodgers, which, again, it hasn't gone as expected, but I don't think I put that on him as much.
No.
By the way, I have never seen a picture of Joe Douglas. I did not know that he looked like what's the villain in Spider-Man, the big Kingpin. You know what I'm talking about?
I do know who you're talking about. I would not have guessed that, though.
He looks like Kingpin, 100%.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I would have to say that out of those four, it seems like Cleveland's almost the easy answer, but I would have to say the Jets are probably the biggest mess of a franchise.
And I mean, I wouldn't argue with that either.
But again, as far as talent goes, like, that's the other thing is like, now granted, you know, we can't give Joe Douglas like too much of a pass because he did also draft Zach Wilson. So
yeah, it was that combine though. That was nice.
Him throwing against nobody in shorts. I mean, that pro
really
day. One of the best pro days I've ever seen.
Yeah, he could really sling it. That's what
it's like me out there. Get me on a boot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, you know, I'm going back and forth because Cleveland, it does seem like the obvious answer. And with that Deshaun Watson contract is such a mess, and there doesn't seem to be a way out. Whereas the Jets are like, all right, we got rid of our head coach, we got rid of our GM. At least we have talent. Like, we have talented players on our roster in multiple positions. So
if we get the right guy in here, maybe something can work.
What's Adam Gase doing? Let's give him another shot.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Let's give him another chance. So yeah, I was curious about that because I was looking at teams that are just in disarray, franchises mostly. You know, there was a couple other teams that I wanted to throw in here, but I did just want to keep it to 4.
I mean, those are bad enough.
Those are bad. Like, they're all just a mess. Like, I wanted, you know, and then the teams that I didn't include that are in this, like Jacksonville, that's pretty bad, but at least you have Trevor Lawrence. So maybe it's just a matter of new coach, new OC, and things are looking better there.
You gotta hope.
The Raiders. I mean, again, I feel like some of these franchises, that's like they're all bad, but there are some that are perennial bad and don't ever seem like they have good teams, have the right talent behind them. And then there are some where it's like, all right, well, they can sometimes put together a few good seasons, but they're just in a terrible spot right now.
Yeah, they can be competitive, but not always.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like bad quarterbacks. There's a lot of bad quarterbacks in the league. There's a lot of, I mean, some coaching advantages are crazy compared to others.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got Dorian Thompson-Robinson as your backup quarterback who Cleveland has started this year too. As long and Jameis Winston now, they've had 3 quarterbacks in 1 year, and that's just the normal for Cleveland lately.
Well, and it's so wild that they made the playoffs last year with Joe Flacco. Like looking back on it, like
I thought Indy was going to do that same thing this year. They're going to bring in Joe Flacco all of a sudden, and he was going to lead him to the playoffs. Like, I was like, what is this guy? Playoff Joe?
Yeah, shout out to Playoff Joe, Elite Joe. But I definitely bet on the Bills to cover against him last week. And that was one of those where it was like, this could go terribly wrong, but the Bills are just looking like a horse right now. The Bills slid into the Colts DM and said, you want this horse?
Oh, this week, I guess last week. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, rather. Yeah. So, yeah, Browns, it's just going to be a mess for the future. The Jets at least have talent. The Giants, I mean, dear God, that's going to be – they got to get rid of Joe Shane. I honestly, I kind of like Dable. I don't think this is his fault. I think you just have a terrible quarterback. And then
I agree.
And then you fucked up by not getting – you fucked up by drafting Daniel Jones. You fucked up by not bringing Saquon Barkley back. Can't remember who made the point, though. Maybe it was Joe Shane that made the point that it was like, listen, 1,400 yards from Saquon Barkley isn't fixing this team. We got bigger issues than just bringing Saquon back. Like, he's not saving this season. A team like the Eagles, though, like, yeah, we'll sign Saquon. That will make us one of the best teams in the league. Mm-hmm. But the Giants are like, no, we're gonna need that money because now we have to pay Daniel Jones.
And now they're gonna start Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, that whole situation kind of seems like a mess too.
Yeah, I mean,
Drew Lock is like, I thought I was quarterback too, but I guess not. Okay.
But it comes at a time like in NFL, when does a coach lose the locker room? Like it's a little bit different than a college like setting. And these guys, I think it's a lot easier for them to check out and be like, hey, we want someone new. Like if things aren't going well and there's turmoil in the locker room and everyone can sense that, and then things go downhill pretty quickly and you kind of have to make a change. You're forced to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hell, like what was the timeline? Was it like, did they have Daniel Jones and then they brought Dable in?
Yeah.
Was that how it went? Like,
yeah, they drafted him when he. Yeah.
Was it Ben McAdoo who was the coach? For
God, McAdoo.
Dude, one of the silliest looking coaches of all time.
Yeah, hilarious.
Where's he at? What's Ben McAdoo up to nowadays?
I was just kind of thinking like Al Davis.
Oh yeah, that is. I mean, that barber is just fleecing those guys. Like, oh, Ben looking good. Al killing it, my man. Mark Davis.
God. The slick back hair, Ben McAdoo.
So yeah, Daniel Jones was drafted and played his first year in the 2019 season. So Brian Dable, when did he take over as head coach? I'm looking this up real quick. He started coaching the Giants 2022. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, maybe if you're the Giants, you're like, all right, listen, we took care of the elephant in the room and we're getting rid of Daniel Jones. We're going to let you draft a quarterback, which quite honestly, they kind of had the opportunity to do this year as well. But they were like, oh, let's give Daniel one more year. But so maybe they say, all right, go ahead. Go get Shador. Go get whoever else is fucking out there, the kid from LSU. And, we'll give you 2 years.
Did you see that, by the way? I think someone brought it up is that Shador tweets out like, yes, or like, thank God every time Vegas loses.
He
wants Vegas to get the first pick and pick him. Quarterback.
Of course he does. Of course he wants to go to Vegas.
Like every time. So it's close to Colorado.
Well, now I wonder, like, if they had the chance, I heard fucking Colin Cowherd talking about this today. And of course he wants this to happen because he doesn't care about the actual like teams themselves and if they're going to be successful and like Super Bowl contenders. But he's like, oh, what the Cowboys need to go and do is they need to get rid of McCarthy. He's a dead man walking. You need to hire Dion and draft Shador.
Of course.
And I was like, yeah, of course you want the Cowboys to do that. So what do you think the Raiders, after 1 year of Antonio Pierce, if they got the number 1, 2, 3 overall pick, they're like, listen, Antonio, business decisions need to be made. We're bringing Dion on, and we're bringing Shador on as well. Thank you for your services.
I mean,
because also I think Antonio Pierce is gone after like 2 years.
Yeah, he's not going to make it.
No.
But to answer your question, I think anything's possible. But I'm not going to. I personally don't think he's going to leave Colorado right now. But that being said, he seems like a person that would make a rash decision anytime. So if the money's right and his sons are done at Colorado, I think Shiloh's still going to be there. So I think until Shiloh's out,
I'm seeing this tweet you were referencing, by the way, from Shador Sanders, November 17th at 1 p.m. Thank you, God.
Yep.
And then all the tweets underneath it, for the most part, are from Raider fans. Like, no, Shador, thank you for being the savior of our franchise.
Yeah, it's already written in the stone right there. So,
oh my God. But yeah, I see. I'm gonna have to go back and look at his tweets because someone said, like clockwork, every time Raiders lose.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that cracked.
Well, maybe maybe it's just Sunday that he's saying this. He's saying thank you. He said thank you, God, on November 10th. Thank you, God, on November 3rd.
But doesn't it happen to be like weirdly after a Vegas game?
Hold on.
The timing.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out, is that so far all of them have been on Sundays. But what was October 27th? What was that? That was a Sunday. October 21st was a Monday, and he said, thank you, God.
But at the same time, I think it was I think he started doing it once he realized what teams were in the position to be maybe picking first.
Yeah.
And then that's when he started doing some of this stuff. But
I think he's just a church-going, God-loving quarterback, and he's
Vegas
just thanking
Raiders.
God.
Yeah.
He's just thanking God, man. Why would you want to go to the Raiders?
Because you could start. You could be because you could start and play football in Vegas.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm just seeing this, and now when I look up shit on Shador online, I'm seeing now a clip from Colin's show yesterday. Colin, he says, I would go get Deion Sanders. I would pick Shador Sanders. If I had to give up Micah Parsons and 3 firsts, I would do it.
This guy's insane.
Colin is out of his gourd.
I think Shador is over. I mean, he's doing good this year, but I think he gets to the NFL and gets eaten up.
He's going to have a target on his back, man. And that was also why I was telling Colin, I was like, hell no, I would not want that for the Cowboys. You get Deion and Shador on the same team, there's going to be 30 to 35-year-old grown-ass men, veterans that are going to be like, I want to fucking kill them and eat them alive.
Dude, you see Caleb Williams right now? That dude's fucking running for his life every week.
Yeah.
And
automatic target on the back.
And he was dominating at the college level. Shador gets in there, he's going to look like a complete bozo. It's not even close.
Oh, boy. All right, enough about bad teams. We're going to go to a mediocre team, a team that it was actually very, very good the last few years. Now I don't know what the hell is going on with them, and that's the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
I mean, they are now, for the first time this season, an underdog in their game coming up. They have been favored in every single one of their games this season, and for the first time this year, they are an underdog going into Lambeau against Green Bay this weekend. I want to say it's got bet down. It was at 2.5, and now it's at 2, I want to say.
Yeah.
But
they've been very underwhelming.
Well, they've blown some fourth quarter leads.
Yeah.
They're banged up all to hell. I saw a crazy stat that it was like,
but who isn't?
See, yeah, I hear you. It's the NFL.
At this point, like, there's every week that we're playing with one of our best without one of our best defensive players, or like one of our tackles are down. Like, it's just the NFL. Like,
deal with it, pussy.
You got to be deep enough and be able to overcome that stuff. Those are the good teams.
I gotta find this article from it's a great name, Dieter Kurtenbach of the Mercury News down there in the Bay Area.
Diameter Lenore getting that contract extension.
I knew that was going to happen at some point, man. He had been playing great this year and last year for him. He's been really good for them.
He's been their best cornerback.
He was making a couple plays this year, and I'm like, dude, I was like, I don't know how much he's going to get, but that he's going to get. I was like, he's going to, he got fucking paid.
Did you hear that video? I think, did we talk about that, about his fire alarm going off in his house?
No.
Because he's superstitious about that. He just lets it chirp. He was in that, was it a ESPN with Mia Kimes or something?
And it just kept going off in the background.
And she was like, what is that? And he's like, oh, that's just my fire alarm. And she was like, why? Do you not, like, turn that off or, like, take the battery out or change it? And he's like, oh, no, I'm just, like, superstitious about it. I start playing really well, and I don't like to change anything. And she was like, what? You're a crazy person. How do you let that chirp? Like, how do you let that chirp all the time? And he's just like, oh, yeah, I'm so used to it now. It doesn't even bother me. Like, it doesn't even faze me. I would lose it. But it's
it reminds me of that It's Always Sunny episode when they moved to the suburbs, Mac and Dennis.
Yeah.
And Mac is just like, do you keep hearing that chirping sound? I don't know if that's a grasshopper or a cricket. I'm losing my mind, though. Oh, man. No, I can't. I've been hearing that pool filter all night long.
Yeah. It's the most ridiculous shit.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes of that show. It is so great. This was the stat I saw about the 49ers, though, is that this last Sunday against the Seahawks, it was their 70th game since the start of the 2021 season. So 21-22, 22-23, 23-24, and then this year. So basically over 3.5 seasons, they've played 70 games.
Yeah.
It's like LeBron.
That's a lot. You get worn out after a while.
Well, that's the thing, man, is I mean, they're beat up. Also in this article from Dieter Kurtenbach, every single one of the Niners' 10 highest paid players per salary cap hit in 2024 is sidelined or playing through an injury.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's just your season. It's unfortunate. But they've had some really, really good seasons here in the past. Like, it's tough to repeat that every single year. You got to have a lot of luck and a lot of depth. And if things don't work out for you, then, I mean, that's the NFL, unfortunately. But, yeah, this year has been, I would say, a disappointment so far, to say the least. But, McCaffrey hasn't played a lot, so.
Yeah, Trent Williams, he had to be shot up to play on an injured ankle against the Seahawks. Nick Bosa injured himself. He pulled his oblique in the game while playing through a hip injury.
Sounds like Fred his brother.
What was that?
So it sounds like his damn brother.
Yeah, exactly. Usually it's Joey doing that.
Yeah.
Fred Warner, in his article, says hasn't looked the same since he rolled his ankle in week 4. And his stats are kind of showing that too, that this is not Fred Warner's best year by any measurable mark.
Ankle injuries are brutal.
Debo Samuel has looked pretty slow this year. George Kittle obviously missed Sunday's game. Christian McCaffrey missed a bunch of time. This is actually not even injury related. This is just fucking sad though. Charvarius Ward, while he has been dealing with a groin issue, and I didn't know this, but his 1-year-old daughter died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ. So it's like, all right, well, that's not an injury, but that's definitely like out indefinitely.
Yeah, that's like you have to deal with that now. Like,
yeah. Javon Hargrave out for the season, torn triceps. I'm sure that feels lovely. Brandon Ayuk obviously done for the year. Dre Greenlaw, remember what happened in the Super Bowl last year when he tore his Achilles. You could expand in the article. You could expand the list to 11 if you include Oregon's own Talanoa Hufanga out with a wrist injury, and 13 of the top 14 players are dealing with injuries if you include Aaron Banks and Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, that's
now Brock Purdy has a shoulder soreness too.
Yeah.
I think they might need to, look at the training staff after this year.
I would say they need to maybe rehire.
But again, dude, it's like 70 games in 3.5 seasons. That's
a lot.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Trying to do the quick math.
I mean, also that means that they're getting very far into postseason, and that's also very lucky, and a lot of teams don't have that sustained success. Mm-hmm. So very nice, but yeah, unfortunate with the injuries.
I mean, teams at this point outside of them have played like 61 games. So yeah, they're literally playing 3 extra games a year on top of everyone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's tough.
But mediocre teams. If you want to talk about injuries, the Buccaneers too. That team looked like they were on the nice road to having a decent season until Mike Evans and Chris Godwin went out, and then kind of derailed that offense. How high powered they were.
Yeah.
And
hopefully they get Evans back this weekend, but they had the bye week, so that's going to help heal up some guys. But
I don't know how good that defense is though. Like Todd Bowles, I might have kind of blown it this year. I don't know, but they're giving a lot of points every week.
Well, they've had
a shootout. I guess they're just fun to watch when they're all healthy.
They're similar to the Bengals though, in the sense that they've lost some close games. Both their games against the Falcons, close losses, overtime against the Chiefs, and then this last week, was it 2 weekends ago against the 49ers?
Yeah.
But look at this next 3 games. New York Giants, Carolina Panthers, Las Vegas Raiders. You're right back in it, baby.
Yeah, that's your get right.
Yeah. Then they got to play the Chargers.
Ooh.
Then they got to play Dallas, Carolina, New Orleans. That's got to be one of the easier schedules left to go.
Yeah.
Like playing Carolina twice, playing the Giants, playing the Panthers, playing the Raiders, the Saints. I mean, come on.
Yeah. That's
talk about getting the bye week at the right time.
This is where you flip the switch.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's why also, to bring it back around to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, is that Falcons Broncos game. That's where I was like, dude, the Falcons, I know it's not a must win. I was like, but you can separate yourself and give yourself what? You would have been 7-4 at that point. And the next closest team in the NFC South would have been the Buccaneers at 4-6. So it's like you're giving yourself such a good cushion at that point. And now you're 6-5, and the Bucs are 4-6. So they're only 1 loss behind you, 1 game behind you in the win-loss column, and 2 games behind you in the win column. So
anything
And
can
they don't play you anymore, where they get to play the Saints once. I mean,
Yeah.
that's you fucked up. Like I was looking at the game. I was like, this is such a great spot for the Falcons to take a stranglehold on that division that they have to win this game. And they fucking gacked it.
Yeah, choked it.
But now I'm curious, who are the Falcons playing this week?
Speaking of choke, the Bears with that field goal at the end. Tyler Santos, come on.
I texted you as someone who had a little bit more money on the under versus the Packers covering. I preferred that outcome. Because if the Bears make that, I lose both of those bets.
Yeah.
And so I was like, at that point in the game, I was like, the Bears are going to get the ball back. And I'm like, all right, well, I need the Packers to make a stop. I'm sorry, Chicago, but I can't be losing both these bets. And then Caleb Williams on that last drive was actually phenomenal. Like he made 3 great throws.
Oh yeah. I mean, he set him up for like a game-winning field goal. Like that.
And then Eberflus fucked up big time.
When has he not been this year? So.
Right. They could have ran another play to get them either to the middle of the field and gotten some more yards. And he didn't. Like they just let the clock run down to 3 seconds or whatever and called the timeout. But he easily they could have set up for another play, hand it off, get up the middle, get 4 or 5 more yards maybe, and just to make it a little bit easier. And they didn't. And you know, whether they would have blocked the field goal or not, still with those extra yards. I mean, yeah, that's wild. Unfortunately, the Falcons are on a bye week this week, so I can't bet on them because that would have been like, okay. After getting blown out by the Broncos, having an opportunity to take a bigger lead in the division, you go and do that. So, but looking at some of the lines already to start this week.
That you're looking at, like here?
Well, the question is, do I bet the spread against the Cowboys for the 4th straight week? I'm 3 weeks in a row. I bet on the other team to cover against the Cowboys, and it's 3 straight wins: Falcons, Eagles, and then the Texans. So, do I go Commanders?
10? Holy that's crazy.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it, man. Part of me wants to seeing that Miami spread, but also now granted, Patriots, Dolphins divisional, but Patriots always have a tough time in Miami. It seems like regardless who's playing.
Yeah.
And the Dolphins are starting to look better now that they got Tua back.
I did kind of find it weird that it's at 7. Like that seems a little bit high for how the Dolphins have been playing lately. So this might be a game where they beat up the Patriots.
Yeah. Some other ones, I mean, God, there's so many on here that make me second guess also.
I think you just need to go ahead and just lay it with Detroit constantly. If you're not just like placing a Detroit ticket every week, you're losing out on money, I feel like, because Dan Campbell covers spreads. That's what he does.
Well, they're only 7-point favorites, and they're going to Indianapolis. Like, that's not a long trip by any means, going from Detroit to Indianapolis. And you're going from a dome to a dome. Like, you might have more Lions fans there than Indy fans.
Yeah.
That might be the play right there.
I feel like this is like a tricky week in the NFL.
Okay, I'm glad that you're saying that, because as I look everywhere, like the Vikings 3.5 versus the Bears. Natural instinct, you want to take the Vikings, but they have been off the last couple of weeks. The Bucks Giants. I mean, the Bucks -6 going up against the Giants off of a bye week
with Tommy DeVito all of a sudden.
Yes. That is the elephant in the room right there, is them doing that or going up against that.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chiefs getting 10.5 against the Panthers. The Chiefs can't score points.
Yeah, I think this is, this feels kind of like a lot of points might be scored from KC. I don't know. It might be very square to say that, but
They just light them up this week.
it's just a mismatch on all levels.
Yeah. Texans getting 7.5 against the Titans. Their offense has been just weird.
Yeah.
And the Titans, they don't go away easily these last couple of weeks.
Yeah. When do the Texans show up? It's like if they show up, have a really good game, they could kill the Titans. But if they just play with their food, then the Titans will stick around. They're that annoying team.
The 49ers, Packers, we talked about that one a little bit. Cardinals being a 1-point favorite in Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah. The Cardinals, I think you were talking about it. They've been pretty good lately. So
I might roll with the Cardinals. I mean, I'm guessing that the odds on them to cover 1 versus money line is better. Money
Cardinals
line's
coming off a bye, correct? Or yeah,
Cardinals. Yeah.
Cardinals coming off a bye.
Yeah. Money line is minus 110 and the spread is minus 115. So you might as well just take the Cardinals to win straight up.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the one that I'm seeing on Sunday night though, the Eagles minus 3 against the Rams. I'm inclined to take the Eagles to cover that.
Really? Okay.
But also the Eagles have been weird this year. They have these kind of dumb games where they fuck around and it's like, you should be crushing this team and they don't.
Well, that seems like a short spread to me. 3. I mean, the Rams aren't very good. They are the home team, and the Eagles have to come all the way to LA. But still, that seems a little bit short for how these two teams have been. But 5-5 for the Rams, they've been pretty average, and they can stick around, especially at home. So they did get Cooper Kupp back and Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
So.
And then your boys are on Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night game. Sunday night game and the Monday night game.
Ravens you got back-to-back LA
games.
SoFi primetime games. What a 24 hours for that city.
Yeah, right. The crew working hard switching it over.
But Baltimore getting 3 against the Chargers.
That seems about right to me.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a little bit of more respect towards Baltimore, but I think that's warranted.
Yeah, it's a tough week, man. I don't know where I'm going to go. If I'm going to maybe just look at, playing some over-unders this week. It seems like there's a lot of
player props.
I suck at player props, man. And maybe it's because I just do parlays with them and I don't ever get them, but
that's
I don't know.
Probably right.
Yeah, just do it. But it doesn't seem right. Doing a 1-player prop and laying money on one.
It's like you playing the over-under a team to cover the spread. It's just a guy to cross it. Like you think it's a good matchup to get 100 yards or 60 yards. And it's like the same kind of thing. You're just making a single bet.
Yeah. I don't know.
Not as fun.
No. I know. I'm seeing that Steelers-Browns game tomorrow. I know the AFC North is a bitch, but there's definitely part of me that wants to take the Steelers to cover that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Cleveland, night game at Cleveland, the dog pound.
Jameis Winston, he's scrappy.
Eating dubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. As I always do, I'll come to a decision on some of these at 9:59 on Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll frantically lay some bets, and we'll see what happens. By the way, just to finish, I did look it up. Tampa Bay, second easiest schedule remaining.
Oh, they deserve that right now with the injury problem.
Yeah. So watch out, Falcons.
They're coming for you.
They're gonna fire the cannons right at you.
Yeah. So loud in that stadium.
All right. Well, hey, we went more than half an hour. I got you.
Yeah. You did.
You son of a bitch, Fisher.
But it's all
right.
good.
Well, I mean, we might not have an episode next week because you're going to be. Where are you going to be at again?
Be an AZ. No, I'm
Is
going to be
that
in
where?
Arizona.
Is that where her parents live?
Yeah, her mom. That's where her mom lives.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Where in Arizona?
And like Surprise.
Ah, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Have
like
you ever
that
gone to
area.
the donkey town in Arizona?
No, I think that was just like a donkey bar.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Got yourself a donkey show?
Bunch of jackasses.
Got yourself a one of those donkey shows down there in Arizona, huh?
No.
No, there's this town called Oatman, Arizona. I don't know how close it is.
No, I don't think I've been there.
Yeah, I don't know how close it is to Surprise. I don't even know where like geographically Surprise is in comparison to everything.
Yeah, we're everywhere is like 45 to an hour away. So
Oh, okay, I see. Surprise is just outside of Glendale. Okay.
yeah.
So this town's called Oatman. It's just north of Lake Havasu. But literally just donkeys roam the town as if they own the place.
Oh,
They'll just walk through town.
gotta love it.
Just you'll be driving down the road and there's 3 or 4 donkeys just doing their thing, walking right through the middle of town.
Yeah, that'll be me next week. So I'll look for them.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'll be able to make it work. We'll see.
It's fine. I'm taking off all my shows on 1080 The Fan next week. So
nice. Yeah.
If we do it, great. If not, we'll have plenty to talk about when we get back.
It is bye week for the
yeah.
So
we get a bye week too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess if that's the case, then we'll come back. We'll have the post Washington game to talk about, and we'll have conference championship week and all that shit.
Heck yeah.
All right, dude. Well, if I don't talk to you before then, travel safely. Have fun with your donkey shows down in Arizona.
Appreciate it.
Wear a poncho or something like like a Gallagher show, just in case something gets on you.
Yeah. Well, and happy Thanksgiving too.
Yeah. Gobble gobble.
Enjoy.
Get yourself a turducken.
Yep. Oh God.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
Yeah. You too. Peace.
Yep.